Roni Haskell, otherwise known as That SC Real Estate Chick. And today I'm joined by James Weaver, who's a servant to the community, running for county council, president of ECPI, somebody that you probably already know, but here's more of his story. Well, today I get to have James Weaver on to the podcast. Thank you, James, for joining us.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
And as the community, let's kind of give you an introduction to the community. So many people already know you, but kind of give us a rundown of your engagement both with ECPI as far as your business goes, but also your engagement and service in the community.
Well, good morning, Ronnie, and thank you for having me this morning. I'm born and raised from the Low Country. I've been here all my life. I grew up west of the Ashley, and I started working in higher education in 2000. So I worked in higher education for almost 26 years now.
Wow.
I've been with ECPI University 15 years, and we really focus on engaging our community and working with workforce development partners to ensure that individuals have the skills necessary to support their industry, whether it's health sciences, nursing, very strong nursing programs, very strong advanced manufacturing and cybersecurity. So that's kind of our area that we focus on when it comes to education and working with our economic development partners, DEW at the state level. We just want to really engage our community to ensure that individuals have the skills that they need necessary to support the workforce.
And we're going to come back to talking about ECPY in a moment because y'all are highly educating our workforce. That is kind of the next generation, the future of what the Charleston area has. So we're going to come back and talk about how that impacts our community with growth and such. And then you also have quite a legacy of being engaged in the community as far as just service to the area.
And my service to the area really started when I joined the South Carolina Army National Guard in 1991. And being a service member is very rewarding to me and my family and my community. And then I've kind of shifted, while I'm still a service member, I shifted to really serving our community, working on and serving several boards across the community. One very important and near and dear to my heart is the Dorchester District 2 Education Foundation. So I've done a lot of work with them and then other organizations that impact our community.
Your engagement with the foundation later led you to want to run for school board, correct?
Yes. Being engaged with the foundation gave me a different lens to look through, and I really thought about it. I talked to a lot of our local leaders in the community and decided to run for school board in 2000.
All right. And now you're running for county council, District
Yeah.
7, which is District 7 is kind of down that Ashley River Road, Summers Corner, Legend Oaks, extending way past like down 165. It's quite a large territory.
It is a large landmass. However, with the growth that we see in the next 20 to 40 years, that area is going to be heavy residential and hopefully heavy commercial.
Yes. Well, we finally have gotten the much anticipated grocery store that's happening over there outside of Summers Corner. We're going to also come back and I want to talk more about growth and infrastructure because that's a big part of your campaign. And I want to hear kind of your vision of what that healthy growth might look like, right?
Yes.
And then family life. What does James do when you're not working, and being the president of a large university, and being a big part of community service? Like, what does life outside of all of that look like?
Life out. So I'm definitely married. My wife is Tamika Williams Weaver, and we've been married for about 15 years. We have a son who's 12, who's in middle school. He plays travel soccer. So we are traveling amongst everything else that I do. We're traveling up and down the coast around South Carolina, North Carolina. We went to Phoenix in December for a soccer tournament.
Wow.
We were in Orlando in January. So we're traveling. Son is very good at soccer. He loves the sport. And then we also have a freshman in college who attends USC Upstate.
All right. Well, very good. So you're kind of spread a little thin, as most of us parents. I can relate as a mom who's got to travel a sport under my belt right now. We're in volleyball, so I can highly relate. The weekends are busy as well as the weeks are. So family man, very integrated within the area and both with academics and with sporting.
Yes.
right? Okay. So, what are some of the lessons you mentioned? Your first service to the community was in the military. What are some of the lessons that you learned during that time that you've brought into life and really into your service today?
Some of the lessons that I learned through my service in the military is really listening, working with soldiers to ensure that they have what they need to be successful in their craft. In the military, there are a lot of different career fields, several hundred career fields. My particular career field is communications. So I'm a communications officer. I started out as an enlisted soldier, so I understand the value and the impact that our NCOs and enlisted soldiers make across the force. So really listening, being a leader, knowing when to lead and knowing when to follow. That's very important in all the roles that I serve in the military and in our community. Because I've been the board chair of the Dorchester District 2 Education Foundation, and I've also been a board member. So I understand when to follow and when to lead, and that's very important.
That is important. For those that are not familiar with ECPI, it originated out of Virginia. I did a little bit of research, by the way. It originated out of Virginia in like the late 60s, and then it grew into North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and I think even now Texas. Like it's quite expansive, um, but it's highly impactful for our community. Tell us a little bit more about fundamentally what the university has to offer to students.
Yeah, we're very unique when it comes to we work with our employer partners and they drive our curriculum. So we have advisory board meetings 2 times a year. They review our curriculum. They give us feedback on exactly what they need skill wise for us to teach to ensure their employees have the skills necessary to deliver.
Yeah.
So we really work with the community to ensure that what we're delivering matches what they need. From one campus to the next campus, you may see a different mix of programs because the programs are aligned with what that community needs from a workforce development standpoint and to help fill that talent gap that's in that particular community.
It started off, from my understanding, more computer, kinda based, right? But now the program, exceeded way past just computer programming and these kind of things where its origin started.
Yes, and that went with the shift of the need in particular communities. In 1966, we were strictly computers, and over the years, we shifted to meet the demands of the community. Post COVID, heavy nursing, and we know that's a huge opportunity for our community, a huge gap in nurses to work with our healthcare providers in the community.
Mhm.
So we've shifted over the years to meet the demands of the community.
Yeah. Um, how is speaking of community, and just my thought process here is, okay, now we're training workforce to better the community. Thinking of growth and engagement within the community as well. We've got a lot of people influxing, migrating to the Charleston region. Um, let's talk a little bit more about what your vision is for Dorchester District 7 area. When we're thinking about that growth, and very strategic planning, what does that strategic planning look like for the next generation?
For the next generation, we have to be very smart with our planning and we look backwards and see how we planned, look at the areas of opportunity that we have currently, and work towards a plan that's going to make us successful. We know all the challenges in our community right now across the state infrastructure, prior planning, concurrency, everything that we're
Mm.
discussing across county council at the state level and federal level. But locally, we have to get ahead of it, plan smart. And with my military background, we have the best planning and training in the world in the military. And I want to use that coupled with my higher education experience to drive our community forward with smart planning, smart growth strategy.
Let's drill down a little bit more, if you will, so that we can educate those that, because I know that that's a big concern among, I've been selling real estate in this area for 20 plus years. And as much, and I too, we both have a passion for this area. Growth is happening. Whether, I'm an instrument to that, but really my phone rings and says, Ronnie, we want to learn more about your area. We're thinking about moving here, right? there's no stopping people from moving here. We're going to continue to see that. And within Dorchester County, your district has the majority of that growth. That's where the land is, quite frankly. And most of it's high land where it can be built on. So you're going to be in a seat with a lot of projected growth and responsibility in that. So when we think about smart growth, what are 2 or 3 key components to give us that smart growth?
You're right, Ronnie. The growth is going to happen, and we're not going to pause the growth. We're not going to stop the growth. The smart growth strategy is working with developers to ensure that we're planning out, similar to Summers Corner. When Summers Corner
Mhm.
was built, we started with the schools, the 2 schools, and the Performing Arts Center. So utilizing that a similar strategy, looking at the future of east of Edisto and determining what's going to be developed and getting ahead of that development, working with developers to ensure that we know what we need in communities in order for that community to be successful.
Mhm.
So let's work with them on how we can plan land for parks, playgrounds, a soccer complex, a
Yeah.
volleyball complex,
Yes, please.
future schools.
Yes.
So just working ahead of that, because the growth is going to happen. I also serve on the BCD COG, and we know in the next 2045, the next 19 years, we're going to have 270,000 individuals moving to the low country. The
Mhm.
majority of the 270,000 is going to be in District 7
Yeah,
because that's where the growth is, east of that is still.
that's right. Well, that's what builds a community, right? Is the parks, the libraries, which those that preceded you in the county council, I think, did a great job of that. We've seen a lot of that come to fruition over the last 10 years, really the last 5 years. We've seen parks and rec and things, but we have a long way to go in that arena because we do need, you and I are both traveling, right? That's something that we absolutely need within our area, close proximity to bring some of these big sporting events into our county and to be able to support that here locally. It builds strong community base. And so what I'm hearing is being more proactive and maybe less reactive to the growth, getting ahead of it with roads and the quality of and the amount of schools. We've got to have that.
Yes, and working with the Education Foundation, started doing that in 2016. I really saw the impact that the growth has on our schools and the challenges with the overcrowding that we have. Our school district is doing a great job with what we have to work with, but working with working with the developers on a strategy similar to what other counties have implemented across the U.S. And there are plans out there. I've researched those plans. I've researched what's been successful, what hasn't been successful, and we can really just utilize that as a starting point to have the conversation and work with developers to ensure that we're going to have a community that we can live in where we can work, play, and live.
Beautiful. That's exactly what we hope to have for our generation now, 10, 20, and 30 years from now. And so thank you for being a visionary in that and for wanting the betterment of our community, both in education and in the planning phases.
Thank you.
James, what is one lesson that you've had to learn the hard way?
One lesson that I've had to learn the hard way when I ran for school board in 2020, some of my communication and messaging was more focused on other candidates versus myself. And as I look forward to this campaign between now and the primary, I'm really focusing on what I bring to our constituents, how I can deliver to our community with my background in higher education and military to ensure that we can drive our community forward. So that's a tough lesson, just
Mm,
focusing on what I can deliver
that's right.
and how I can bring an impact to our community.
Hey, so talking about that campaign, you had the campaign slogan, Leave It to Weaver. You and I have something very much in common. I hardly go a month without somebody joking me and say, "Are you related to Eddie Haskell?" So you and I both have the Leave It to Beaver theme happening between us. Kudos to the 1950s, true American style. But anyways, are you going to carry that Leave It to Weaver slogan over to the campaign of today?
We haven't used it yet, but it's in our back pocket to utilize.
I'm laying it
It
out
will-
there for you. I love it, though. I think you should intertwine that back into the theme of today's campaign. What is an area of strength that makes you stand out against the others that are running for the same seat?
So my strength that I bring to our county is that the military training and experience, being able to think at the strategic level. I'm a field grade officer. So using that experience coupled with my community engagement experience, serving our
Mhm.
community for over 20 years in many facets, and being making an impact on our community.
Here's what I have learned through our conversation. You're a family man. You run a university as a president, you serve as a president. You're highly engaged within the community. Um, and you have been serving our country during all of this as well. And part of that, you were gone for a year while you were still floating those other responsibilities.
Yes.
Yes, that's period. Like, that is excellent, James. Thank you for sharing your story and just who you are. I mean, that is a testimony to your diversified, being able to handle many things at once and still staying so highly engaged with this community.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today and to learn more about you also while we're discussing my background and experience.
Of course, absolutely. I love being able to have conversations with other strong community members and putting shining the light on you for this short period of time. So I just have enjoyed the conversation so much, and I hope that the viewers have learned more about you as well.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining on the podcast. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.